I'd like to welcome to stage now Roshan Paul, as well as Jurriën Mentink, Jurriën Mentink, and Hari. Yeah, welcome. Okay, I'm just going to begin right here to my left. Roshan was really intrigued by your message. Is it correct in understanding that you feel all universities should start to train students for social innovation?
I don't think it's just social innovation. I think regardless of what career you want to have, there's a disconnect between what universities are designed to do, which is provide academic learning for academic outcomes. And that's great for a particular group of people that want that. But it's not so great for the vast majority of people who are looking for more typical careers, professional careers. And they need to build a different set of skills that academic learning doesn't really provide. So I don't think it's just social innovation. I think it's much broader than that.
Great. That's a great initiative. At the institute that you founded, who are the students that you get in general?
Yeah, we get, so it's open to people with a university degree, an undergraduate university degree from anywhere in the world to come. We get people coming from all around the world. Typically, they're people who are recent graduates from a university looking for an alternative type of master's program, something more practical and field-based, or people who are already working for some time in the social innovation space and looking to build their skills to go to the next level. And probably 30 to 35% of our group tend to be people crossing over from the business world into the social impact world because they want to have more meaning in their career and they're not quite sure how, and so they come to us to kind of get a head start into the social impact sector.
Okay, great. And are these people who are looking to make a career change or are simply looking to deepen and get more from their current careers?
Typically, it's people who are looking to make a career change.
Yeah.
Occasionally, it's people who are also looking to get more from their career, but most of the time, it's people in transition looking to make a jump.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
So I often get questions from students around corporate social responsibility. I think what I heard you talk about in your talk was there was a great connection to that. So what's the difference between what you're doing and corporate social responsibility other than just sustainability?
So I would say corporate social responsibility came about in reaction to the social impact sector and the work that they were doing. And that led to companies saying, well, what are we doing? How can we be better citizens as well? And certainly there have been many scandals with companies that prompted something like that. Typically that takes the form, corporate social responsibility, or CSR as it's called, takes the form of providing donations to schools and health clinics in the communities that these companies are based in, or in setting up corporate foundations to donate money to good causes around the world. So that's one part of this field. I would say it's one part of a much larger field of social impact. And companies are funding it, they're participating in it, they're playing a role that they can play. So that's an answer to your question, but to go to the next level, what's actually happening now is that many companies are seeing that corporate social responsibility, or CSR, is not enough. That the future of CSR is not giving donations to companies, but actually to good causes, but actually making the company itself more sustainable, more ethical in its value chain, and how does the products of the company themselves serve a larger social good. So I think that's the future of CSR, and that's going to lead to more of a blurring between the fields than there is right now.
Let me bring Jurrien into the conversation. You're a student. Yes? How do you feel? What do you think about the vision of Roshan? Or did it have
I think it's
some
great.
impact for you?
Yes,
as
yes,
students?
sure. It's the same as students, and I believe if you do it like that kind of way, and that's the current mindset, I think you can do much better than we have before. With like, I think it's also like the time of boring business cases and all those kind of things, but true passion and true belief in something you want to do, if that's like possible, and therefore you can create space. That's nice at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Great. Turning to a little bit of your of your story,
Yes.
you are now, and which is also a very social sort of connection that you're doing as well.
Yes, that's true.
You're learning a lot from the elderly people who are living in your home,
Mm-hmm.
and I can imagine it's not really an option for many people to live
No, not at
that
all.
way.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
So there are 6 people like me who are living amongst the elderly people, like Harry, for instance.
Yeah.
So and that's because also the business core or the business plan of a healthcare center or institute is to provide healthcare to elderly people. So it's not a student house yet.
Yeah.
So so I think the balance is nice, but I hope eventually in the future there will be more healthcare organizations just like Humanitas who will pick this plan or this concept and interpret it in their own way and in their own organization. So
Right. And how do you feel that we could incorporate those lessons that you're learning into more lives?
it's just really doing it. It's what Humanitas did 3 years ago was just doing it. Just go for it, not thinking about the problems, but thinking about the possibilities and first do and second ask for some kind of excuse when everything goes wrong. But it didn't. So now we're here and I'm presenting a TED Talk. So in some way it went well, I guess, down the road. And yeah, it's taking a lot of courage, and I think that is the most important thing I want to tell to organizations which are also thinking about new possibilities in the healthcare system nowadays, which is like making like 180 degrees the other way. So I think especially now it could be very interesting for healthcare organizations to try something different and to really do something which they think is necessary for their organization. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Great.
fun, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Is there any questions that we have? Well, for either, I want to open up the questions for. Yeah.
I'd like to know more about the mismatch you were talking about. So you have, as I understood it, you have the young people wanting a job that changes the world, and on the other hand, you have the employers. They want something different. What do they want then? Where's this mismatch coming from?
So I don't think it's just that they want a job changing the world. They want a job, period. It turns out that what employers are really looking for are things that universities aren't very well set up to do. So in our research that we did, we found that what employers typically want us are skills in 4 areas: leadership, communication, creativity to solve problems, and management skills. And the type of kind of research and analytical kind of thinking, that's a relatively, that's one set of types of jobs that you could have, but that's almost entirely what we do in university. So if you think about the main activities in a university, it's reading and writing. That's, when you come into the workforce, you have to do a lot more than that. It's a lot about how do you work with other people, how do you understand yourself, what are the types of skills you need to solve problems, and things like that. And those are not typically things we do in university. So that's the mismatch between what universities are designed to do, which is provide academic outcomes and the learning that is really important to drive societies forward. I'm not saying that the function of universities is no longer relevant. I think it's incredibly relevant. But we're asking universities as a society to do something which is prepare people for their careers, for professional careers, that they were never designed to do. It was not the function of university to prepare you for your career. It was the function of university to help you learn. And so we're asking university to do something they're never set up to do, so it's not a surprise that they do it poorly. And so we need different ways of training for the people who may not want to do jobs around research and academia. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to, so what you read there, what you said was important for you, so you use these findings to educate the people who want social innovation.
Yeah. Yeah, and not just that article, obviously. We did a lot more research than that. We did surveys. We talked to people who have, literally like changed the world, won Nobel Prizes, led UN departments. We talked to a lot of people about what they really needed and what was missing. Some of that research is on our website if you'd like to see it. And that's what we used to design the program that we're doing.
It's a question for both of you. I'm a theologian. I've been teaching a lot in secondary schools, and I've seen that religion is really disappearing from the mindset from students, and at the same time, people keep on searching for meaningful life, for a motive to learn to be a good human being. And I've started to call that that we've developed kinds of disembedded religion habits. Do you recognize some functions that you are taking care of that would be formerly the task of religion or in the field of religion? Is purposefulness the new religion? Is living with the elder people kind of contemplative life?
Yeah, I know from Christendom you have like the 10 beliefs. So don't kill and don't be nice to your parents and but in some ways I believe that's just like main rules. If you don't want to be a dick, so to speak, you have to do those rules. And I think so in that kind of sense, I do think that that religion as a fundamental thing to live for, yeah, it will disappear, like in Western countries at least. But also in exchange, my life, I'm well helping Harry for sometimes, and it gives me a great feeling to do, and I will learn from it and all those kind of things. But in some way, indirectly, you attach those 10 rules from Christendom to your life, but not with a meaningful Christianity belief, but more from your own heart and from your own perspective. So, yeah, I think that's also some kind of religion, but I don't want to make it fundamental or something like that. So.
It's a really deep question, I think, and I think we could spend the whole day on it. So anything I say now is probably just off the top of my head, but I agree that certainly in the Western world, not so much in Latin America or in Africa, but certainly in the Western world, religion is becoming less important in society. What I think is not getting less important, though, is spirituality. And I think that there is still a big hunger for that. So what people are not connecting with is organized religion and dogma, that this is how this institution tells me how to live your life. And I grew up very Catholic. I was going to be a priest till about the age of 14. And then I fell out with the church and many of the policies that they did, I didn't agree with. I've gotten to know Buddhism very well, so those are the two religions. But I quote from the Bible all the time when I'm teaching. I quote from Buddha all the time. I still think there's a great amount of teaching and wisdom to be found there. But I think when it's imposed in many of the ways, at least it was imposed on me as a kid, that part is disappearing. But I think the hunger for connecting to a larger purpose, what used to be God and now maybe something more on self-actualization of our human potential and things like that, that isn't going away anytime soon. So I think if organized religion can connect better to that, maybe the two can come back together in some way.
Hari? I guess the question that I would ask for Hari is the significance of your program and what the meaning that your program has brought for him, the experience that he's had from you. Does he see this as a novelty, or does he actually see this, Hari, do you see this as a way forward to connect our generations and just sort of and share more of our lives together?
Ik ben, dames en heren, kapper van beroep. En ik heb veel in de muziekwereld gezeten. Vandaar dat ik dus ook inderdaad veel onder de mensen ben geweest. En dus ik heb een heel vrij leven. Ja, en ik heb meteen vlot contact met mijn buurman gemaakt. En nou, door een lekker babbeltje en dat valt elkaar heel goed. En dat is de reden dat hij mij er ook over meegenomen heeft hierheen.
Wat brengt u dit nu? Voor uzelf?
Ervaring.
Nog steeds?
Ja, en steeds ervaring. Men is nooit te oud om te leren. Ja. Ik vaart heel veel op. Mag ronduit zeggen, ik heb ook een vrij grote dosis mensenkennis. Wat ik altijd nog wel erg leuk vind, een geintje in de stad. Als ik bij ons in de buurt ben, in het winkelcentrum, dan zie ik een man en de vrouw langslopen. En dan zeg ik, daar is de man de baas en daar is de vrouw de baas. Dat heb ik in het tijd van de mum al gezien.
Heel goed.
Maar je moet natuurlijk wel weten wat je zegt. Bedankt u voor de belangstelling.
Do you want to give the audience a little bit of for those of us who wanted a bit of a translation? A short synopsis of what?
Yeah, because we live together or next to each other, and so by talking and by doing stuff like watching TV and all those kind of things. So that's also why I asked him to be here. He also said that he is a hairdresser, used to be a hairdresser, so he has a lot of like human knowledge, of knowledge about humans, like if he or she in a relationship has got on the pants or the leadership in the relationship, so that's nice. So I'm learning from it how he does that, and yeah, so that's really what he said, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
Good life applications. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our guests on stage. Thank you again to the audience. To welcome Roshan and Jurrien and Harry. Thank you very much.